The warehouse district stretched before Marcus Chen like a sleeping giant, its concrete corridors bathed in the amber glow of security lights. His footsteps echoed with military precision as he walked his rounds, each turn calculated, each shadow assessed with the trained eye of someone who had once saved lives in far more dangerous places. Marcus adjusted his security guard uniform and checked his watch. 2:15 in the morning. In 5 hours, he would be making breakfast for Lily, helping her choose clothes for school, and pretending that 8 hours of sleep was enough to fuel another day of loving fatherhood. The radio on his belt crackled with static from the dispatch center. "All quiet on the east side," came the tinny voice. Marcus pressed the button and responded with his usual calm professionalism. "East Patrol clear, continuing rounds." He paused at the chain-link fence overlooking the industrial park, watching a stray cat pick through shadows near the loading docks. 8 years since Sarah died, 8 years of nights like this, 8 years of being both mother and father while the world slept around him. The police cruiser's headlights swept across the parking lot as Marcus completed his third round of the evening. He recognized the patrol car immediately. Officer Brady and Sergeant Rodriguez, making their usual swing through the industrial district. Marcus raised his hand in a respectful wave as the cruiser slowed beside him. The passenger window rolled down, revealing Sergeant Rodriguez's weathered face and skeptical expression. "Evening, officers," Marcus said, maintaining his professional demeanor despite the familiar look of dismissal in Rodriguez's eyes. Rodriguez leaned out slightly, his voice carrying the condescending tone Marcus had grown accustomed to over the years. "Everything quiet out here, rent-a-cop? No kids spray-painting walls or homeless people setting up camp? All clear, Sergeant. Just finished checking the north perimeter." Officer Brady, younger and less cynical, nodded appreciatively. "Thanks for keeping an eye on things, Marcus. Makes our job easier knowing someone reliable is out here." Rodriguez snorted softly. "Yeah, well, just remember to call the real cops if anything serious happens. Leave the police work to the professionals." The cruiser pulled away, leaving Marcus standing alone under the streetlight. He watched their taillights disappear around the corner, then continued his patrol with the same quiet dignity he maintained every night. The sound reached Marcus before the sight did. A low groan, barely audible above the hum of distant traffic, drifting from the shadows between two warehouses on the far edge of his patrol route. Marcus quickened his pace, his training automatically kicking in as he approached the narrow alley. His flashlight beam swept across broken concrete and scattered debris until it illuminated something that made his breath catch. A man in a police uniform lay crumpled against the brick wall, his face pale and twisted in pain. Blood pooled beneath his head, dark and spreading in the harsh white light. Detective Walsh, Marcus realized, recognizing the young officer from previous encounters. Marcus dropped to his knees beside the injured man, his fingers automatically moving to check for a pulse. Weak but steady. Walsh's eyes fluttered open, unfocused and filled with confusion. "Hey, stay with me," Marcus said, his voice calm and authoritative in a way that surprised even himself. "You're going to be okay." Walsh tried to speak, blood trickling from the corner of his mouth. Marcus quickly assessed the visible injuries, head trauma, possible internal bleeding, signs of severe shock. His mind raced through treatment protocols he had not used in 8 years but had never forgotten. Without hesitation, Marcus pulled out his radio and called for emergency backup while his hands began the careful work of keeping Detective Walsh alive. Marcus keyed his radio with practiced efficiency. "Dispatch, this is Marcus Chen, East Patrol. I have an officer down at Warehouse 17, alley between buildings. Critical injuries, need ambulance and police backup immediately." He set the radio aside and turned his full attention to Detective Walsh, whose breathing had become shallow and irregular. Marcus's hands moved with the precision of someone who had performed these actions countless times under far worse conditions. First, stabilize the airway. Marcus carefully positioned Walsh's head, checking for obstructions while monitoring his pulse. The detective's eyes rolled back, and Marcus recognized the signs of increasing intracranial pressure. Using his jacket as a makeshift pillow, Marcus elevated Walsh's head slightly, then applied direct pressure to the head wound with his security guard shirt. His movements were methodical, confident, each action flowing seamlessly into the next. Walsh's breathing grew more labored. Marcus checked his pupils with his flashlight, noting the unequal dilation that confirmed his worst fears. Without hesitation, he began chest compressions, counting under his breath while maintaining the steady rhythm that had once saved soldiers in Afghanistan. "Stay with me, detective," Marcus whispered, his voice carrying an authority that had nothing to do with his security guard uniform. "Help is coming, but I need you to fight." The wail of sirens shattered the night air as 3 police cruisers and an ambulance converged on the warehouse district. Marcus continued his steady compressions, sweat beading on his forehead despite the cool night air. Sergeant Rodriguez was the first to reach the alley, his weapon drawn until he recognized Marcus kneeling beside Walsh. "What the hell happened here?" Rodriguez demanded, his eyes darting between Marcus and the injured detective. "Found him like this about 10 minutes ago," Marcus replied without breaking rhythm in his chest compressions. "Head trauma, possible internal bleeding, signs of shock. I've been maintaining his airway and circulation." The paramedics rushed forward with their equipment, expecting to take over from a panicked security guard. Instead, they found Marcus performing textbook CPR with military precision. "Sir, we'll take it from here," the lead paramedic said, then paused as he observed Marcus's technique. "You maintaining a 30-to-1 ratio?" Marcus nodded, continuing compressions. "Pupils unequal, possible increased ICP. Started compressions when breathing became agonal about 3 minutes ago." The paramedic's eyebrows shot up at the medical terminology. Rodriguez stepped closer, suspicion replacing his initial concern. "How exactly does a rent-a-cop know about intracranial pressure? What part of this story resonates most with you? Share your thoughts from wherever you're watching tonight." The emergency room at St. Mary's Hospital buzzed with controlled chaos as Detective Walsh was rushed into Trauma Bay 3. Marcus stood in the waiting area, his security uniform stained with blood, watching through the glass doors as medical staff worked to save the young detective's life. Dr. Sarah Kim emerged from the trauma bay after what felt like hours, her scrubs reflecting the intensity of the fight they had just won. She approached the cluster of police officers gathered in the waiting room, her expression cautiously optimistic. "He's stable," Dr. Kim announced. "We've stopped the internal bleeding and relieved the pressure on his brain. He's going to make it." Sergeant Rodriguez stepped forward, his voice tight with concern. "Doc, what are his chances? Full recovery?" "Too early to tell, but his vital signs are strong. The person who found him did everything right. The compressions, the airway management, even the positioning to reduce intracranial pressure. Without those interventions, Detective Walsh would not have survived." Rodriguez turned to look at Marcus, who stood quietly near the vending machines. "The security guard who found him, Marcus Chen. He seemed to know what he was doing." Dr. Kim nodded approvingly. "More than seemed to know. Whoever taught him emergency medicine knew their stuff. His documentation was textbook perfect, and his field assessment was completely accurate." Captain Sarah Mitchell sat in her office the next morning, staring at the incident report from the previous night. Something about Marcus Chen's actions didn't add up. Security guards didn't typically possess advanced medical training, and they certainly didn't use terminology like intracranial pressure or agonal breathing. She picked up her phone and dialed the personnel department. "I need a background check on Marcus Chen, works security for Titan Industries in the warehouse district. Everything you can find." 20 minutes later, her computer pinged with an email attachment. Captain Mitchell opened the file and felt her eyebrows rise as she read through Marcus's military service record. Staff Sergeant Marcus Chen, United States Army. Combat medic, 3 tours in Afghanistan. Decorated for valor after saving 14 soldiers during an ambush in Kandahar province. Post-military career as a certified paramedic with Metro Emergency Services until 2016. Captain Mitchell leaned back in her chair, pieces of the puzzle falling into place. The report showed Marcus had left his paramedic position following the death of his wife, Sarah Chen, choosing night security work for the flexible schedule it provided for single parenting. Have you ever been underestimated because of the job you do? Let us know where you're listening from tonight. She reached for her phone again. This time, she was calling Marcus Chen directly. Detective Walsh's eyes opened slowly, the harsh fluorescent lights of the hospital room gradually coming into focus. His head throbbed with each heartbeat, but he was alive, and that realization filled him with profound gratitude. A knock at the door drew his attention. Captain Mitchell entered, followed by a man in a security guard uniform whom Walsh recognized despite his foggy memory. "Detective, this is Marcus Chen," Captain Mitchell said gently. "He's the man who found you and saved your life." Walsh struggled to sit up slightly, his voice hoarse but determined. "I remember you. You were there, talking to me, keeping me conscious." Marcus stepped closer to the bed, his expression humble and concerned. "How are you feeling, detective?" "Like I got hit by a truck, but grateful to be here. The doctors told me what you did. They said without your medical intervention, I wouldn't have made it." Walsh extended his hand toward Marcus, who clasped it firmly. The detective's grip was weak but sincere. "I need to know," Walsh continued, his voice growing stronger. "Where did you learn to do what you did? That wasn't basic first aid." Marcus glanced at Captain Mitchell, who nodded encouragingly. "Army combat medic, detective. 3 tours overseas, then worked as a paramedic here until my wife passed away." Walsh's eyes widened with understanding and respect. Word traveled fast through the police department. By the time Marcus returned to his security shift the following evening, the story of Detective Walsh's rescue had spread to every precinct in the city. Officer Brady was the first to approach Marcus during his rounds, his previous casual respect now transformed into genuine admiration. "Marcus, I heard what you did for Walsh. That was incredible, man." Marcus nodded quietly, uncomfortable with the attention. "Just did what needed to be done, Officer Brady." More patrol cars than usual cruised through the warehouse district that night. Officers who had never acknowledged Marcus before stopped to shake his hand and express their gratitude. The transformation was remarkable and slightly overwhelming. Even Sergeant Rodriguez appeared near midnight, his patrol car pulling up beside Marcus with unusual deliberation. Rodriguez stepped out, his expression serious and thoughtful. "Chen," Rodriguez said, his voice lacking its usual condescending edge. "I owe you an apology. I've been treating you like you were just some wannabe playing security guard." Marcus maintained his professional demeanor. "No apology necessary, Sergeant. We all have our jobs to do." Rodriguez shook his head firmly. "No, it is necessary. I found out about your service record, your medical background. You're not just some rent-a-cop. You're a decorated veteran who chose to step back to raise his daughter. That deserves respect." Captain Mitchell's office felt different this time when Marcus entered 3 days later. The formal distance had been replaced by genuine respect and something that looked like opportunity. "Please, sit down, Marcus," Captain Mitchell said, gesturing to the chair across from her desk. "I've been thinking about what happened with Detective Walsh, and frankly, about what we've been missing." Marcus settled into the chair, uncertain about the direction of the conversation. "Our department has been discussing creating a new position," Captain Mitchell continued. "Medical advisor and emergency response trainer. Someone who could teach our officers advanced first aid, help with crisis situations, and bridge the gap between law enforcement and emergency medical services." She leaned forward, her expression earnest. "Marcus, your combination of military experience, medical training, and proven ability under pressure makes you the perfect candidate. The position would offer better hours, excellent benefits, and the chance to make a real difference in how we prepare our officers for emergencies." Marcus felt his breath catch. It sounded like everything he had wanted since leaving his paramedic career, but doubt crept into his thoughts. "Captain, I appreciate the offer, but I have Lily to consider. My current schedule allows me to be there for her morning routine, school pickup, homework time. What do you think Marcus should choose? Share your thoughts, no matter what time zone you're in right now. That evening, Marcus sat at the small kitchen table in his apartment, watching Lily work on her math homework. Her dark hair fell across her face as she concentrated, reminding him so much of Sarah that his heart ached with both love and loss. "Daddy, you seem worried tonight," Lily said, looking up from her worksheets with the perceptive eyes of a child who had learned to read her father's moods. Marcus smiled, reaching over to tuck her hair behind her ear. "Just thinking about some changes at work, sweetheart. Nothing for you to worry about." Lily set down her pencil and turned to face him fully. "Is it about the policeman you helped? Officer Brady told me at school pickup that you were a hero." Marcus's eyebrows rose in surprise. "Officer Brady talked to you? He said you saved someone's life, and that you used to be a soldier and a paramedic before I was born." Lily's voice grew serious beyond her 8 years. "Daddy, why did you stop being a paramedic?" Marcus chose his words carefully. "When Mommy died, I wanted to spend more time with you. Being a paramedic meant working different hours, and you were more important." Lily nodded thoughtfully, then surprised him with her next words. "But Daddy, wouldn't Mommy want you to help people again? Like you helped that policeman?" Marcus felt tears sting his eyes as his daughter's wisdom cut straight to his heart. 3 months later, Marcus stood before a classroom of police officers, his new department uniform crisp and professional. The training facility buzzed with attention as he demonstrated advanced trauma care techniques to 30 eager students. "Remember, the first 60 seconds are critical," Marcus explained, his voice carrying the authority of experience. "Airway, breathing, circulation, in that order. Never skip steps, even under pressure." Captain Mitchell watched from the back of the room, smiling as she observed the respect and attention Marcus commanded from officers who had once dismissed security guards as inferior. After class, Marcus walked to the department parking lot where Lily waited in the after-school program van. She pressed her face against the window and waved enthusiastically when she spotted him in his instructor uniform. "How was your day, Daddy?" Lily asked as he helped her with her backpack. "Good, sweetheart. Taught 15 officers how to save lives today." Lily beamed with pride. "Mommy would be happy, wouldn't she?" Marcus knelt down to her level, his voice soft with emotion. "Yes, baby. I think she would be very happy." As they walked toward their car, Marcus's radio crackled with an emergency call. "Officer down, requesting medical advisor response." Without hesitation, Marcus grabbed his medical kit from the trunk. If this story touched your heart, let us know where you're watching from and subscribe for more inspiring stories like this one.